Hello there. In this video I'm going to concentrate on the installation of the servos into the fuselage. The addition of the extra detailing kit, the seating basically, into the cockpit area means that you have to be a little bit creative in fitting everything in. And I've also got the additional issue of wanting to run the servos to the control surfaces via scale pull controls rather than push rods. And that's meant that I've created a few headaches for myself, and that's what I'm going to look at in the video. And in addition, I'll also look at lining up the cowl, which has now been strengthened with fiberglass, and also marking on the holes for retaining that cowl, and also the two holes that are required for the high and low end needle control for the 4-stroke engine. So get your favourite tipple, sit back and enjoy this little journey on the building of the Ray Tiger Moth. So here we go. Let's show you what I've been doing. It's as I said, it's rather difficult to see or rather demonstrate while I'm doing it, but I can show you the setup. Now, the doors obviously work, and it's my thought that the pilot's doors will be left open in their cockpit and the trainee will be shut, because I have seen that when pilots are at low altitude and need to look at the approach, they'll often have the doors down. So that's my excuse anyway. Right, I'm going to have to take the camera off to show you inside. Hopefully there'll be enough light for you to see what's happening. So there you can see that servo operates the tiller, this mechanism here, which I'll show you working in a second, and that will operate the elevator. I need to insert a couple of tubes here to guide the wires, and they'll be fed down through the model when it's covered and then hooked up to the tiller arm. So that servo operates the elevator. The one in the forward compartment operates the belt cranks for the rudder, and the whole assembly is mounted on one piece of plywood, and it's accessible to allow it to be screwed out if there ever has to be any maintenance or servos need to be repaired, because if it will go wrong or can go wrong, it will go wrong at some stage, and I'll need to have access to them. Now, if I open this up, I'll see if I can show you one-handed how the rest fits in. So the first thing that goes in is this, there you go, rather satisfying snap for the rear seat. And then this is a little bit more awkward one-handed, but basically what I need to do is to guide it onto, there you go, it's not fully in properly, that's it, and there's the front seat in, both of them locked in place with magnets, and then the mechanism is clear just underneath to operate the servos. I'll take those seats back out and then I'll hook them up to a battery so you can, and a tester, so you can see them working. I've linked the servos up now to a tester and a battery so I can show you, I hope, what's going on. So we'll open the doors. Actually, the open doors are rather handy, aren't they? This is the servo that operates the elevator, and you can see the tiller movement, and once they're connected up to the control wires, that'll give a nice positive movement for the elevator. And if we look to the front, these operate the belt cranks for the rudder, and you can see that the whole assembly is well, it can be taken out. There's a screw there and there's a screw there, so that this whole platform can come out if and when I need to do maintenance regarding the servos. So the next task will be to remove the cowl and install the servo for the throttle. And when I'm in the process of doing that, I'm going to tape it off and use card to mark the location for the screws for the fixing bolts for the cowl. And I'll also have to put in a hole for the control needle valve for the engine, and perhaps access to the lower needle setting. So we'll take the cowl off and we'll have a look at the next servo location that needs to go in. Now here we go, there's an access hole that allows tubing, wires, etc. to come through, but also conveniently, and I don't know if this was deliberate on Tony's part, I'd like to think so, that's a perfect spacing for this servo. You can't see it because it's black. It's a micro servo and it fits perfectly in there, and the tiller arm will go directly, see if we can get this to focus, a lot of black, it finds it hard, to the carburetor. So I'll mark that off, screw it and get it put in, and then we're ready for the next little job, which is to link this up and also to mark off the positions for the holes that I just mentioned. Servo installed. I've actually changed the servo. It's actually a blue one, similar size, but it's just a little bit easier to see. And you can see I've got the controller required for the carb. So that's a job I can tick off. And the next one is to drill the holes into the cowl for the needle valves and also the locating screws. Let's crack on. Servo's installed. The next task is to mark off the cowl for holes that need to be put in it. So I'm just going to use some scraps of paper to mark the location of the fixing screws. Piece of paper taped on. Helps if I've got some tape that works. Let's try this. It's better than the cowl starting to resemble a Swiss cheese full of holes. So just put these on, mark the location, and then I'll drill them through. These will be fairly straightforward, a small pilot drill, clearance drill for the screws. The one for the needle valve, I'll need to take a little bit more care with that. Take an allowance for the curve of the cowl itself. It's not excessive, but you just need to be careful. And I'll drill a smaller hole, check that I've lined it up, and then make any adjustments that I need to. There you go, happy with them. Now, let's have a look at the needle valve. So I'll line this piece of paper up. Just going to fix it in place. It helps if it doesn't move. That's that one. And for the lower needle setting, I need to repeat on the other side. And then I'll refix the cowl in position using the bottom two screws. And we'll drill them out, or mark them out. Now the lower end needle, for those of you who don't know, sets your tick over. As a general rule, what you're looking for is when you open the throttle, there should be no hesitation. If there is, it normally means it's a little too rich, in which case you shut the needle valve slightly. And if it cuts out instantly, you open it slightly. And when I mean slightly, an eighth of a turn at a time. Happy with that? Right, I'll reaffix the cowl. We'll mark these through. Cowl in place. Just need to pull it down a little. I'll drill this with the electric drill in a moment. That's what you could do with a helping hand. And this one. There you go. Right, I'll drill those out and then we'll do the 2 holes for the needle controls. The cowl's now secure and lined up, which is what I'm after. So I'll mark on the position of the needle valve control, drill it through with a small drill and then just peer through to make sure everything's lined up. Then I'll take the cowl off, because obviously I don't want to be drilling with the engine at the other side, and make sure everything's going the way I want it. Well, there we have it then. The radio gear has now been installed, and yes, it's a tight fit. If you want to install the interior additional kit, I personally think it makes a big difference to the model if you're going to have the doors open. It will of course mean that I'll have to get a full-size pilot to fit in there. If you don't go down that route, you could put a half chest high bust in, and once it's in the air it would look superb anyway. The cowl's now being fitted, the needle valve is installed, and so too is the hole in this side for the lower end adjustment. I'm pleased with that. It's been a bit of a sticking point. It's always awkward doing these fiddly little jobs, but it means that I can move on to do some more work on the fuselage next, and that's going to be the cabin, I believe. That's what I'm thinking about. The undercarriage needs a little bit more thought. I'm taking on board some of Cliff Harvey's experience of flying his model, and we'll talk about that when I get to building the undercarriage itself. If you've enjoyed this journey, please give it a thumbs up. I'll link to the playlist to go with the rest of the builds so far. If you can get out flying, why not go flying? But if you can't, as I can't here, the weather's awful, then let's get creative. Bye, folks.